Story time, who doesn't love story time? And bloopers. There's always bloopers at the end. By far my favorite part of any show. Hey, I'm that American in New Zealand, grab a cuppa and settle in. So now for my personal moving story, just so that you have an example that it is indeed possible, let me take you back in time. The question I got the most from friends and family before we moved here was, why New Zealand? Well, I have wanted to come here since university. I was a resident assistant in charge of looking after the living facilities on campus and also in welcoming the international students. We had fun. I made piñatas. I had roommates from Japan, France, Spain, everywhere, and became friends with a man named Stefan from France. He was this world traveler and he said he had just been to New Zealand. He said it was amazing traveling to both islands. It was so beautiful, and oddly enough, what really stood out for me was him saying that you could travel from the very top to the very bottom and pass through all the seasons. It was warm in parts, snowing in parts, and there were penguins in parts. I loved the options. He showed me photos and I was like, sold! I got the travel bug and New Zealand was my goal. I thought maybe I'd move there after school for a bit and checked out the skill shortage list. Basically a list of jobs that would be likely to hire you and let you stay and get residency. At the time I was pre-med but kind of bopping around between majors because in America you can kind of really pick any major for your undergrad, and that shortage list actually really helped inform my decision. Then a bunch of life happened and I hadn't made it to New Zealand yet, but eventually I met Brandon, that guy I'm marrying later this year, and he was all about traveling and living abroad. He was up for anything. So at this point the whole idea had been in my mind for like 10 years and was just ready to manifest. I'm a firm believer in the power of using your imagination and visualization and the foundation of belief that brings things about in your life. That's why I think hearing stories or watching videos where people did something that you're wanting to do as well is super helpful. It just sticks it right in your subconscious. Just to see it and visualize that, hey, they did it, so it's possible. I can do it too. And that is just what happened. So then Brandon and I kind of hit a rough patch. There's actually a video that covers that a bit and I'll link that up here. In fact, I check out all my New Zealand videos. There's a lot of little helpful nuggets in there that you won't find easily. And subscribe to my channel if you would. It really helps support me. And I have loads more content on New Zealand and more coming out each week. So we decided to go on a visit to see if it was gonna be right for us and maybe it would help our relationship, because being on your own with no outside influences on your relationship and just getting those shared experiences, I think can be a true test to see how you really are gonna get along. Just your authentic selves. You know what I mean? We also wanted to kind of date New Zealand as if she were a lovely lady and see what we thought of her. Yes, she was gorgeous on the outside, but would it be a long-term relationship? Would we get along with her parents? Would we move in with her? Would we fall in love? So we went woofing for 6 weeks. We stayed at a new place each week from top to bottom, Harry to Harry. It was funny, in the States everyone was shocked that we left for 6 weeks because that is considered a very long vacation. There you get maybe like 10 days of vacation a year that you have to earn very gradually. But then we said the same thing here and everyone was like, oh, what a pity. That's so short, you poor darlings. Because they're used to like months off in a year. Anyway, we met some wonderful Kiwis and yes, we fell in love with her and more in love with each other. Something about the peace of being in the beachy nature energy was just what we needed. Side note, it was not so good meeting people constantly for me as an introvert, but that's another video. So when we came back home to Seattle, it was really a matter of, how do we do this? We should do this, right? Because you know when you get back to normal after you go on vacation and you're at work and you forget that in your life, just anything is possible, truly. You are the writer of your story, you can do anything. The key is actually believing that that is true. And I haven't shared this on my channel yet, but I have been working with plant medicine for the last 5 years. And in a ceremony before I came over, without really going into detail, I clearly knew we would be moving to New Zealand and that it would just work out. So after that, we made the decision to trust the universe or God, and it really did work out. Brandon had some schooling left from being in the Navy when he was younger, and that allowed him to enroll in a graduate program here. He was between mechatronics in Auckland, and then we just intuitively knew that that wouldn't be as fun as his other interest, winemaking. And we were right. So last minute he enrolled in wine school in Hawke's Bay, and they were on board, and then things just started to fall into place really quickly. I quit my job, which was scary scary, just not having that income and relying on Brandon financially. But then it was time to sell one of my businesses, which also helped a bit, and we also knew we needed to sell Brandon's car, and that day I think we were like, gosh, bringing Mr. Barkley over is going to cost a lot. Like, how is this going to happen? We have no money. And that day he was T-boned. But like lightly T-boned, no injuries to anyone, but his car was totaled, and we're like, huh, that's convenient. So just a lot of that kind of stuff happened, which is for me like, okay, the more I trust the universe, the more things just work out. So let's keep going. We organized Barkley coming over. I will make a video on that soon. That was the most stressful part of the whole thing. We decided on the very few items we were taking over, packed them up in 6 boxes, and flew on over. It took us about 2 months of being here to find a rental house in Hawke's Bay, luckily fully furnished and out in the country. Beautiful views, great neighbors, and Brandon was bringing home some great bottles of wine from class, and he'd be like, oh, well, these are going to go bad. We have to drink them right now, tonight. Or we would basically have to throw them away. That was fun. He ended up getting a job at a vineyard. All was going well. And then lockdown. 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 Stores shut their doors. Long lines stretching outside to get groceries. Brandon had to do his schooling online. And over here, as you might have heard, they took it real seriously. Except essential businesses. Of course, pharmacies, doctor's offices, and anything in the wine industry. So he got a special exemption pass just to go to work. You know, because New Zealand needs their wine. It's the law. Yeah. It was actually really nice being stuck in the New Zealand countryside, relaxing. We were on like 20 acres, so there was plenty of room to walk and play. Barkley loved it. You know, sometimes I think we're really in his manifestation. And after that whole deal, Brandon graduated and got a job as an engineer in the Bay of Plenty. We moved up here to this little farm cottage on a dairy farm, and we've been here ever since. And here we are living life. We've made it through the moving process, and you can also. You really can. Now, I am curious about what you guys are up to, so let me know if you're thinking of coming over and where you are in the process in the comments below. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye! Look good? We can do that better. Biggest fan.